This valley may look calm, peaceful and innocent, but some heavy stuff's gone down here. Let's get into that, but first of all, I just want to show you a little more light-hearted thing. So what happened over here, a little bit further east of this actual drone footage? There's a curious monument that commemorates Charles Lindbergh's seaplane landing in the Minho River near furthest, a small parish near Valença, a little bit further upriver. Now, the reason he landed there on November the 13th in 1933 was an unplanned stop during his extensive 1933 survey flight for Pan American Airways. And the primary purpose of this journey was to assess potential transatlantic air routes for future commercial aviation. And the landing at Friestes occurred as they were traveling from Grenoble in France to Lisbon due to adverse weather conditions and low fuel. Lindbergh made an emergency landing on the Minho River near Friestes. This unscheduled stop was a direct result of the challenges faced during this ambitious survey flight. And it was unbelievable how famous Charles Lindbergh really was when you dig deep into it. Anyway, let's get back to this beautifully idyllic area which was marred by war in 1640. And you really don't want to see my landing here in Google Earth Flight Simulator. Didn't end well. This is the train ride I'll be doing today, and we're starting off from Viana do Castelo and heading all the way up to Valença with quite a few stops on the way which I'll talk about. And when we get going, I'm going to talk about the 1640 events. It's a bleak morning. Alright, good morning. My name is Nick Robinson, and you might have gathered that because this is my channel. And we've built up a relocation and real estate agency over the last 4 years out of this channel. So it's going really well with our team. Nick Smith, Duarte Rodrigues, and myself making videos. So we're now well on our way on this northern train line, heading north up towards Valença. And we're going to stop off in a beautiful little spot soon. But first of all, I want to tell you what racked this whole region was a dynastic crisis in 1580. So what is a dynastic crisis? It's basically Portugal ran out of kings. You know, there wasn't an heir, and Spain jumped into the vacuum and ruled Portugal for 60 years, from 1580 to 1640. And then in 1640, Portugal had enough and decided to revolt back. And initially, this region wasn't a real big problem. But then later, after a couple of years, they realized that it was actually quite strategic because a lot of trade routes were going down into Braga and into Porto over this Minho River, and they needed to defend it. So the Portuguese government and the kings put in a lot of money investing in defense. And Valença was the strongest castle around, but there are also a couple of castles around that we're going to point out, which are a part of 62 border castles all the way around Portugal. Just a quick aside, if you are curious about these 62 border castles, I've created a map on Google Maps. You can go and visit every single one of them. They are perfectly accurate directions to each one, and I visited quite a few in 2 videos, which I'll link in the description and here up in the cards. Alright, so back to 1640. The westernmost fort, called Fort de la Gatera in Vila Praia do Ancora, was actually, it's a bit sort of dubious. No one really knows when it was built, but there's a report saying it was built in 1690, which is after the Restoration War. So it could have appeared that this was defending against something similar happening in the future, and Portugal was fortifying its defenses because it's a coastal fort situated in the lovely town of Vila Praia de Ancora. I just cruised through it and just managed to stop, but it was a beautiful town, a stunning beach, and I'm sure you can have a lot of fun there in summer. Okay, so let's proceed around the bend into the Minho River Valley. As you can see, we've stopped at Vila Nova de Cerveira and we've followed the Minho River all the way up. It's actually about 48 kilometers from Viana to Castelo all the way to Valença. So we're now about 2/3 of the way. Now, Vila Nova de Cerveira is interesting because the name Cerveira likely comes from the Latin word cerveria, a place of deer. Local legend tells it differently. They say a giant wolf, a lobo, once terrorized the area. A valiant knight slayed the beast and the town was named in honor of his victory. You can still find references to the legend in local art and statues, and it's a classic man versus beast origin tale that gives the town a mythical flair. But I think what's more relevant to us right now is that during the Portuguese Restoration War, as I've mentioned, 1640 to 1668, Cerveira was heavily fortified to defend against Spanish invasions from across the river in Galicia. Not as much as Valença, which we're going to see in a bit, but it did play a key role in the network of forts along with Valença and Monção, which is even further up the river, which guarded the Minho frontier. And the fortress walls still stand. I walked around it. You can walk them yourselves, and you can imagine musketeers peering out over the river, keeping watch for enemy sails or Spanish dragoons. That clearly wasn't my train, but mine arrived and it was on time as well. We headed northeast to Valença. Now, for much of the 1640s and 1650s, the Minho frontier saw a grinding war of attrition rather than grand offensives. Both Spain and Portugal were often on the strategic defensive in this theatre. So don't think about massive pitched battles with armies on either side. Campaigns consisted of cavalry corridas, or like fast raids across the border to burn crops, loot villages and steal cattle. Underfunded armies on each side resorted to pillaging the borderlands to provision themselves. This low-intensity but relentless warfare devastated the local economy and terrorized inhabitants. Crops were torched before harvest, churches and manor houses ransacked, and herds driven off across the river. Now, many border towns suffered depopulation, as residents obviously fled behind fortress walls or into the interior to escape the violence. And it went on for a long time. It was just consistent. Now, despite the brutal tactics, neither side gained a decisive edge in these years. Indeed, a tacit truce sometimes prevailed so that farmers could sow and reap, a grim acknowledgement that starvation would serve neither crown. There were also episodes of truce for trade, even amid war. The Galicians and Minho folk illicitly bartered food and goods across the lines when patrols were lax. Now, still, the war gradually eroded the once friendly cross-border relations. A Galician chronicle notes that the conflict was deeply unpopular in Galicia, supported by only a few ambitious nobles, while all classes, from peasants to university students, resisted conscription. And on the Portuguese side as well, the cause of the independence initially inspired patriotism, but as the years dragged on, war weariness grew in the northern provinces as well. The povos irmãos, or the brother peoples of Galicia and Minho, who had lived in harmony for ages, now eyed each other warily across a militarized frontier. Because don't forget, a couple of hundred years earlier, they were fighting the Muslims and sort of spreading Christianity together and created Portugal as a result. And now they're fighting each other. It was just crazy.
Próxima estação, Valença. Atenção à distância entre o degrau e a plataforma.
I don't often mess up like this badly, but I got off the train at the train station in Valença, and I walked around looking for a place to eat for lunch because I was hungry, and I was walking around, and I just couldn't make up my mind because all the places were a little bit, not so good. and I was walking around and I just couldn't find it. And it was just a horrible little place. I thought, oh, why would I come to this Valença? I just want to get back on the train. So I jumped back on an early train and I, screeched off back to Viana, the Castelo, and to Porto, where I was going to spend the night. But what I did in the process was I missed the entire castle. So I really messed up, and I should have gone around the castle and explored it at length, which is it's a fantastic fortification, as you can see from these Google Earth shots. So hopefully one day I'll get back to Valença and explore it. But here's a little thing about Valença. So throughout the conflict in the 1640 to 1668, the fortress of Valença remained a cornerstone of Portuguese defense in the northwest. Now, thanks to continuous upgrades, Valença never fell into enemy hands during the Restoration War. Its thick bastions and tenacious garrison discouraged Spanish commanders from attempting a direct siege. Valença also served as a forward base for Portuguese counterattacks. Troops assembled behind its walls could sortie out to raid Spanish positions or to relieve nearby posts in distress. Notably, in 1658, it was from Valença that Count Castelo marched his forces to retake Fort São Luís de Gonzaga. The fortress also sheltered refugees from the countryside and kept open a lifeline to Porto and Lisbon for communication. By war's end, Portuguese engineers considered Valença, along with Almeida and Elvas, much further south, among the most impressive defense systems of the nation. So you can see how badly I messed up here. Now, this stronghold would remain a sentinela de fronteira, a sentinel of the border in folklore, symbolizing the resilience of the Minho region. Well, you can't win them all. Hopefully one day I'll return to Valença and paddle down the Minho River. It could be an amazing experience. But anyway, I sped back to Porto, and I will make a video about Porto in the future. We went on a really great tour around Porto with a local tour company, which is fantastic. But remember, if you need any help relocating or real estate advice, whatever, we're here at algarveaddicts.com. Next week, we're heading west to the wild west coast of the Algarve and interviewing quite a bunch of people, looking at cross-laminated timber houses and chatting to people over lunch in Erifana. It's been fantastic. And we really have got an action-packed and might even have to split it into 2 weeks episodes. But anyway, can't wait to see you guys next week. Like and subscribe so you get notified. All right, ciao. algarveaddicts.com. We'll see you next week, but if you need any help relocating to the Algarve, click through to our website, algarveaddicts.com. We offer tours, immigration assistance, long-term rentals, and we can buy your house.